Polar bears are from the kingdom Animalia, the phylum Chordata, the class Mammalia, the order Carnivora, the family Ursidae, the genus Ursa, and the species sea bear.
As of May 2008, the U.S. listed the polar bear as a threatened species under the Endangered Species Act. In Canada, polar bears are listed as a species of special concern. Russia also considers the polar bear as a species of concern. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service estimates that the polar bear population is currently at 20,000 to 25,000 bears, up from the low of 5,000 to 10,000 bears in the 1950s and 60s.
There are a number of factors that have a negative effect on polar bears. They include climate change, increased snow, decreased snow or rainfall, prairie reductions, loss of sea ice, having to spend more time on land, decreased physical condition, unusual warm spells, loss of dens, and environmental contaminants.
Ice caps are shrinking.
Global climate is warming due to excess greenhouse gases causing the polar ice caps to shrink. This means a loss of habitat for the polar bears.
Polar bears may be one of the first species lost in a warming world. Warming climate is melting their sea ice habitat. It makes it more difficult to hunt prey, like seals, and find dens for their cubs. Though polar bears are well adapted to extended fasts, they are only able to survive without food for so long. Since polar bears have evolved to live in the extreme Arctic, even minor climate changes could profoundly impact the species.
Results of long-term studies of polar bears show Canada's western Hudson Bay population has declined 22% since the 1980s due to ice breakup. Southern Beaufort population along the southern coast of Alaska and western Canada has seen a decline in cub survival rates and a drop in weight and skull size in adult males. The Baffin Bay population shows risk from significant sea ice loss and overharvesting. The Chukchi population is declining due to illegal harvesting in Russia and one of the highest rates of sea ice loss in the Arctic. But some people are seeing more bears. Some think this is due to polar bears having to spend more time on land, but some think it's because there's an increase in population. We need data to understand this change.
At the 2009 meeting of the IUCN Polar Bear Specialist Group, scientists reported that out of 19 subpopulations of polar bears, 8 are declining, 3 are stable, 1 is increasing. By the comparison, in 2005, 5 were declining, 5 were stable, and 2 were increasing. Insufficient data to determine the fate of the other 7 populations.
The polar bears, we're donating $20 a month. Polar Bears Anonymous.
No. What you can really do to help is reduce your CO2 emissions by driving less and reducing your electricity use. You can also adopt a polar bear through the World Wildlife Fund.
In the 1960s and 1970s, hunting was the major threat to polar bears. Pressure from hunters was so great and in the survival in such jeopardy that the 5 polar bear nations reached a landmark accord. The International Agreement on the Conservation of Polar Bears was signed in Oslo November 15, 1973 by Canada, Denmark, Greenland, Norway, the US, and the former USSR. It is one of the first and most successful international conservation measures enacted in the 20th century. The agreement prohibited random, unregulated sport hunting of polar bears, outlawed hunting from aircraft and icebreakers, a common practice required each nation to protect polar bear denying areas and migration patterns, obliged the nations to conduct research on the conservation and management of polar bears to share research findings with each other.
The highlights of recent activities to save the polar bears include conducting ecotoxicological studies to evaluate potential effects on polar bear immune and hormone systems in the Svalbard Island complex, continuing efforts to refine population boundaries and better understand sustainable harvest levels or the effects of harvest on populations, evaluating new techniques to conduct aerial population surveys, evaluating the relationship between bears, seals, and the sea ice conditions, population genetic studies, and the research to evaluate the effectiveness of the thermal sensory technology to detect polar bear den beneath snow, and that's it.
Scientists say that hope remains for polar bears if we all do our part. It's entirely possible to achieve the CO2 reductions needed to save the polar bears. What we need now is the social and political will. Currently, most people don't understand the nature of the problem, so it's up to us to educate and inspire others.
Salven los osos polacos.
The polar bears!
Hold on, I didn't know. You're gonna make me pee my pants. Oh wait, it is recording. Hold on, let me stop it. Action.
You can save the polar bears by donating $20 a month. That's wrong. No, that's right. Let's start again.
Hold on, how you say?
Polar bears may be one of
Wait, I don't know if it's going. Oh, then the thing. When the little red.
Sea population along the northern coast of Alaska and western Canada has declined in pubs. I'm supposed to say cub.
Oh well, I just got your boyfriend walking in the middle of the video of them kids.
Oh, wow.